What I really wanted to talk about today is the progression of adjusting to being single again after being in a relationship for the last 9 years of my life. I have been just living life, and today I woke up fine, and then by the time I got to the office I just was feeling a little sad girl 805. And so after sitting in the office for 5 hours, I said, you know what, let me just cut out a little early today and just go sit at the park. What I really wanted to talk about today is the progression of adjusting to being single again after being in a relationship for the last 9 years of my life. It is kicking my butt in like some of the most random times. Like I'm fine with the fact that he and I are no longer in a committed relationship. That's fine. I've taken my time to get over how I felt about my marriage falling apart. I've taken my time to really analyze like what I did or didn't do, how I contributed to the demise of our relationship, like what I would and wouldn't do the next time, and just all of those things, right? And how I felt about how we parted ways and all of that, and how it affected me and how it affected my daughter and how it affected my family and how it affected my business and how it just affected like every facet of my life. And yeah, what I'm dealing with now, me and God, is like, all right, Lord, I love so much. And although there have been other men the last couple of months who have, said they are interested in me, or, I've always had feelings for you and I just never said anything, or, I was trying to respect your situation type stuff. And the lack of intentionality is like disgusting to me. The lack of intentionality, the lack of like purpose, the lack of consistency in just the communication stage, because we're not even going on no dates. You just can't even communicate with me consistently. That's weird to me, and I don't like it. And I don't know if that's because I'm so used to talking to somebody every day, almost all day long sometimes, or if that's just the way that I prefer to be communicated with. Like, if you like me, you didn't talk to me for a week? No, absolutely not. You don't like me. You couldn't possibly. You left the door open for somebody else to try to talk to me. That's how I look at it. I don't know. But yeah, I've just been trying to figure out, like, what do I do in this space now where it's just me, and that's cool. But there are days where I miss the companionship. There are days when I miss the conversations. There are days when I miss the affection, being abstinent. It's like, it's just like, yeah, I'm not tripping off nobody like that. If you're not approaching me correctly, I'm not interested. I don't care how cute you are. I'm cute too. And I might even be cuter. I just been spending a lot of time with myself. And there's nothing wrong with spending time with myself, but I think there's a difference in the way that I'm framing it in my mind, that I'm spending time with myself. It's not necessarily by myself. I'm alone a lot. That doesn't necessarily have to translate into being lonely. But there are days when it's just like, I want to go to the movies and I want somebody to come with me, and I want to share popcorn, and I want for it to not be my sister. I love you, but like, can it be a man? That would be nice, It's just today it's bothering me. It doesn't bother me every day. It doesn't bother me all the time, but today is bothering me. That's just where I'm at. I just decided, instead of continuing to sit inside and be sad about my season of singleness, it's really easy to get caught up in what you don't have. Whether that's, okay, it's getting bright. Whether that's the relationship part of it, whether that's, finances or friendships not being the way that you want them to be, or whatever it is. It's really easy to focus on what you don't have. And sometimes what happens with me, and I don't know if everybody is like this, but I will start disqualifying myself about why I don't have certain things based off other things. Like, I'll be like, man, I'm over here bothered about the fact that I don't have a man, but like, based off of my checking account balance, I don't need one. Like, that don't make any sense. But I'll tell myself that it is, right? Or, I gotta lose another 5 pounds before somebody's even gonna look at me, because the way that I look is not gonna attract the man that I want. And I don't know. I have no idea. But I be telling myself stuff like that. And I know that in my case, that stems from people in my past telling me, oh, you're not going to have what you want. Since you and I are no longer going to be together, I want you to know, you're not going to have what you want in a partner because you don't have this, this, or this. You're not going to have the partner you want who is, financially established and successful because you don't have the money. You're not going to have somebody who is going to appreciate what you look like because, you didn't let it go. So, you don't have a 6-pack no more. You're not size 2 anymore. Oh yeah, don't nobody want you like that. You have a kid and you're about to be this age and don't nobody want to deal with that. So you're going to have a hard time finding blah, blah, blah. Things like that have been spoken over my life by previous partners that, even though in my mind I'm like, boy, bye, they still have taken root in some areas. So I know that it is easy for the enemy to plant the seeds in my mind. Like, yeah, remember so-and-so said that? Well, you haven't gotten what it is that you were waiting for. So how do you know that he wasn't right? He's a man. He should know what other men think or what other men feel or what other men are interested in. And so I be really having to talk to God and have God remind me of the truth about what he says about me and not what these people that I have been around have said about me, or even not necessarily people I was in a relationship with, but just other people in my life who have projected their preferences or their interests or, just their beliefs on me and my situation. And I think that's the thing that it's still like being worked through when it comes to me talking about the healing process of being on the journey of just not being in that relationship anymore. And it is a process. I had a woman tell me that it took her 14 years to recover from her divorce. And I don't have 14 years to just be sitting around waiting to feel like myself again, or to allow God to grow me into who he's calling me to be in this season. I don't want 14 years to go by with me saying, like, just because that relationship or that type of relationship is not in my life, that I can't get it together. I didn't have more financial stability when I was married. I actually have more financial stability now that I'm not. And that to me is crazy because I have less money. But I'm able to do more, and I have less stress about the finances than I did when I was with someone that I was expecting. Like, this is a partnership, right? 2-income household. This is supposed to be easier. It was not. It was a struggle. And not saying that it's like super easy now. I could for sure use an increase in my income to where I really could like take a breath and not be doing so much, to make ends meet. But I believe that time will come. But yeah, I just feel like I don't have time to be like, oh, my business is going to get to where I need it to be back when I have another relationship, because I was with somebody who didn't support me in the way that I wanted to be supported. And so I got to wait to have that support. I don't. I need the clients. I need the clients, but I don't need the support of some person relationally in order for me to do and be who God is calling me to be. And I think a lot of times as women, we get lost in these relationships. We've become the person that we think we have to be in order to support him, or be what he needs, and we neglect our own things sometimes. Yeah, I feel lighter in my spirit, and people who know me and have known me for a long time are seeing a resurgence in certain parts of my personality that I felt like I had to tamp down because they didn't fit. Like, they didn't fit the narrative of what a wife is supposed to look like or do or be. And it's not like I'm a wild individual. I'm very bubbly. You guys can and will see I have a large personality. But there was something about being in a relationship, in that particular relationship, that made me quieter, that made me not say things about certain things that didn't sit well with me, that just I didn't think at the time that I was dimming my light in order to be in that relationship, but I was turning some things down because they made him uncomfortable. Not because I felt like I needed to change them or because I didn't feel like they were supposed to be part of my personality, but because he was uncomfortable with them. So even that is like me having to reconcile with myself. I allowed myself to be in that relationship where somebody was telling me, I love you so much, and I love you for who you are, and I love you the way you are, but also telling me all these things that I needed to change in order to have him stay. And it took me a long time to get out from underneath that, to be like, yeah, bro, I'm not doing that anymore. You're either gonna stay or you're not, but I gotta be who I have to be. And it's funny because I was having a conversation with my great aunt this past weekend. She turned 75, and I asked her, I said, 75 years of life, what is it that you want to make sure that you tell us younger people? Like, what have you learned, and what wisdom do you want to pass along? And what she said to me was, you have to be yourself. Don't allow someone to try to change you, and don't try to change anybody else. You have to be you, and you have to do what you were sent here to do. And talk to God multiple times a day, because if you don't have that connection, you're going to be lost. And that was important to me, because I realized that as I've gotten older, I speak to God more times a day now than I probably ever did. And I think just like as I get older, it's just more conversations throughout the day. So when I talk about like my prayer time, I pray a lot. I pray multiple times a day about different things, whether it's a short one or a long one, or it's a quick word or whatever. I talk to God all day long. And that even is funny to me, because I think about when I was younger. My mom likes to tell this story about, I got in trouble at, I think I was in like preschool. I got in trouble during recess, and they sent me to sit on the bench. And I might have been a little older. I might somewhere maybe in elementary school. I'm not sure. But I got in trouble during recess, and they made me sit down on the bench. And the yard duty came back, and she made me move to a different bench because I was talking to other kids on the bench. And she's like, you can't talk to anybody. You have to sit here, and you have to sit quietly while you're benched. And I was like, okay. So I'm sitting on this bench by myself, and I'm still talking. And she comes back, and she's like, Shayla, what are you doing? And I said, I'm praying. I'm talking to Jesus. What you gonna say to me about that? You can't tell me I can't pray, ma'am. So she just had to leave me there talking. But I say that I tell that story to say, I obviously cannot recall if I actually was praying or if I just knew that was a trump card and she wasn't gonna be able to say anything to me about the fact that I said I was talking to Jesus. It might have been both. I don't know. But yeah, I talk to God all the time. And I think that that's how I've been able to deal with a lot of the things that have happened in this current season of my life. But I just wanted to share that with y'all because I know that sometimes people see maybe what I post on Instagram or what I don't post, and they think that I'm just doing so amazingly well with this transition of life because I don't really say anything negative. And I don't necessarily know if this is a negative thing. It just is what it is. This is just where I'm at in the journey. So, yeah. I don't know if this is like a divorce diary or what, but this is just where we are. This is just where I'm at. And I just thought that I would share it because whether you are going through a divorce or you've gone through a divorce or it's just a relationship breakup or a friendship breakup, which I think I'm going to talk about that in one video because friendship breakups sometimes hurt way more and hit so much harder than breakups with your significant other. And hopefully someone is encouraged by knowing that they're not alone because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's just not the same thing that you've been doing for however long, and you get into the pattern, you get used to having that person or just that comfort, and it's not there, but everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. So if you got to get uncomfortable to get to the blessing, then get out of the boat, you know? So this is me on another day of getting out of the boat, trying to make sure that I keep my eyes stayed on the Lord. I'll see you guys in my next video.